think the Urban Spectrum has done a tremendous job telling the stories of African Americans in Colorado and Denver, you know, chronicling our civic life, our political life, our social life, our religious life.
It's essential to keep our community together.
And to shine a spotlight that doesn't often get shown on the good things that we do. I think the Urban Spectrum gives us our strength. It shows us the best that we can be. It shows us in all our glory, doing good things, doing positive things, helping children, helping old people, helping communities stay healthy.
And it tells our stories for those who are not in our community too, so that they can see us from that positive light as well.
Exactly. I feel like I've been on the cover of Ebony magazine. I've probably been on the Urban Spectrum cover 3 or 4 times. It's really an honor, and I'm grateful for the opportunity and the exposure.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I will say that B is part of the reason why we are married, because she actually allowed me to be a reporter for Urban Spectrum back in 97, 98, on a trip to Cuba with Greg, and we got engaged there in Cuba.
Yeah.
So we thank B and Urban Spectrum not just for covering us, but letting me be a part of Urban Spectrum.
Yeah, we love you, B. Thank you. Well, one of my favorite experiences would be is the annual group of students that, you know, she's trying to expose to journalism and powerful leaders in the community. They used to come over to the Denver Post when I was the editor, and they would sit in my chair and look at artifacts in my office, and I would give them gifts, and they would ask me personal questions. But what was the most important and gratifying part of that was just being accessible to them, letting them touch me and see me and watch me in meetings and realize that that's something that they themselves could do. So empowering young people to be able to dream is one of the most important things I think that anybody can do, including a journalist.
I did on that one.
Yeah.
I can't add to that. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing.
B.
Yeah, the community and B.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty, I mean, it takes energy to do something for 30 years and to do it at a high level, and it takes a commitment, but that energy and that commitment is embodied by B. Harris. I can't imagine us existing without the Urban Spectrum. We need that validation, and she gives it to us.
And we want to see it expand, especially digitally, and with our kids and kids after that. We want to groom them and have them reading Urban Spectrum so that they can see themselves in their local news.
Yeah. Strength. You know, it gives us strength, and it shows our strength. Yeah, I would say strength.
Yeah.
You want to take this one?
Yeah,
Go right
the Urban Spectrum has been really good to me. You know, it's always interesting when you move here from another city. I moved here from Atlanta, and I didn't know the community at all. And to be able to leverage what the Urban Spectrum brings to the city helped me to build the relationships that I'm so proud to say that I have almost 21 years later. It is the publication to learn about our community and to see the wonderful things that we do here in Colorado.
The Spectrum has been a part of our professional and personal life now since we've moved back to Denver almost 10 years ago. Started working with B in covering some of the political things that we've done here in Denver. And most importantly, B has been at every one of our restaurant openings, from the first one in Superior to the downtown 8 Rivers location, and to the opening of Jezebel's in the Highlands. Urban Spectrum has been there with us 100% of the time. And B was also, our Denver Urban Spectrum and B was one of the few newspapers that actually covered our dispensary, Simply Pure, from the very beginning.
I mean, we're a black company. I mean, we're black restaurateurs. There's very few of us here in Denver, as we know that. And, you know, to have the voice of the Spectrum behind you has been a great advantage. You know, I'm the chef, and, you know, being able to, you know, do what we do with B and putting it in the black community and giving them options, et cetera, it's been a huge advantage for us. And even the personal side. You know, B also is someone that doesn't just have ads in the paper, but she knows her customers. You know, she's at our restaurant all the time, or she'll be at our house in the dispensary, and that connection sort of makes it special. And I think that's what the Urban Spectrum has done here for Denver, is giving us as black entrepreneurs not just a voice or newspaper, but a friend, and not scared to say what we want to say, where most of the other papers, Post and the other ones that were here, wouldn't even take on that challenge. So I compliment her on giving Denver a black voice. Without that, we wouldn't have it.
Mark, don't you go and handle this one?
Okay, so I would say B. Harris and the Denver Urban Spectrum have been right by our side, at least our whole marriage.
Minimum of 12 years, but she's been around me my whole entire life. I'm a native of Colorado, so we've been knowing about the Denver Urban Spectrum for as long as I can remember.
That's right. So Denver Urban Spectrum has covered your family, your parents, your father, and all of the great things that he's done. But personally, I would say that my first true encounter, really getting knee deep into it, would be was when I was serving as an appointee to now Governor Hickenlooper when he was mayor, and I was serving as director of government and relations, and we had to deal with the fire, the Holly fire, and I remember that night, and I remember all of the work that went into rebuilding the community and what it took to do that, and B was there every step of the way, and it was just one of those things that we built an understanding amongst each other, and I think the work that we did really helped move things forward for that community, our community, and it was just a very powerful time.
You know, as recording artists, we need promotion and marketing to fuel our careers. And you have been one of those mainstays who have been in the forefront of our family, the Albright family, in terms of letting people know the new records coming out, the love that we have for this community, and we just appreciate everything that you do. And we wish we could actually be there in person. I'm currently on a tour, an extensive tour, doing domestic and international travel. But we are definitely there in spirit, and we're just uplifting you right now.
It's always a pleasure to get the knock on the door at the church during the week, and I know it's my stack of Urban Spectrums. We carry a lot of African American literature, magazines, papers at the church, but I must say that of everything that we get delivered during the week, it is professional, it is something that you can be proud of, and it really represents what's happening with black people, not only in Denver, but throughout the nation. And so we're just very proud of her and proud of the work that she does to keep us informed.
Well, I can start off with that. I mean, I did a cover story with B's son, Donald, and a good friend of mine, Chef D, and you know, right there in itself was one heck of an experience. We had sort of the, all three of us, you know, age difference, but was able to bring all these different, three chefs together from three different areas of culinary experience, and just being able to share our stories, and, you know, being able to actually even use Donald as one of my chefs in my restaurant has been a great connection and a pleasure for me with the Urban Spectrum.
Bee's a revolutionary. Bee is amazing, and because she's the leader of the Denver Urban Spectrum, the spectrum in itself has been revolutionary. So at a time, for me, politics and cannabis has been, you know, what we believe our buildup has been about, and to be able to have a voice in the black community when many of us were not on board with cannabis legalization, when many of our politicians were not on board with cannabis legalization. The Denver Urban Spectrum was not afraid to step out on a journalistic standpoint and say, you know what, this is important and we should hear about it. B allowed me to have a column to be able to get that voice out about the positive aspects of cannabis through an article called Blowing Smoke. Blowing Smoke went on to win a CBJ award, which we were very proud of, and all of that was 100% because of Bee's revolutionary, visionary way that she looks at journalism in the Black community. Bee is one of Denver's treasures.
So I think, every week when you go to church or when you're at the barber shop or wherever you are, if it's just right here at our very own Blair Caldwell African American Research Library, Bee's there. You gotta pick up a Spectrum. You gotta find out what's happening in the community. If you're not the newsmaker, something else is in the community, and you need to learn about it and understand it and be a part of it. And I think that is what's so fundamental to the 30 years that Denver Urban Spectrum has been a part of our community. It is the community, keeps us bound, and it keeps us together.
And she's exactly right. When you start talking about the community, you're in the barbershop, you're getting your hair cut, you want to know what's going on, what's happening in Denver. That's where you find out what's happening in our community. You pick up the Denver Urban Spectrum, and the Denver Urban Spectrum, shares with what's happening in our community, and we need to know. And it's good for folks that are not in the Denver community. We live in the suburbs. You got to know what's going on. And I think that Denver Urban Spectrum does that exactly for our community.
We're celebrating you tonight. Congratulations. And what are we celebrating?
30 years of service. Urban Spectrum, 30 years.
Wow, the big 3-0.
Yep.
That is quite an accomplishment, and we're glad to have shared at least 12 of those 30 years that we've been here in the Denver community. And we just thank you for uplifting people of color and what we do in the community and in this nation and abroad.
She's asking us for one word.
I would say forward thinking.
Yeah.
That's not one word, that's two, but
Well, one for you and one for me.
there you go. Well, I think there's one thing to have a newspaper, and there's quite another thing to have a newspaper that thinks ahead. And to have a community think about what's in front of us so that we can explore that is a beautiful thing, and I think the Urban Spectrum has done that well over the years.
Revolutionary, visionary, badass. Those are 4 words.
Well, one word, I don't think I could publish that, but I'd say 2 words, and they would be thank you.
I guess I've let her do all the talking as she does in our relationship as well. I'll start with this one, right? I think we've used it so much already just talking to you today. It's community. She represents the community. And you got to know who you are. You have to know where you are, what are you doing. And the Denver Urban Spectrum kind of lays that foundation for who we are, what's going on. And again, I think to me, and I think Heather would echo, she has set the stage of us knowing exactly what's happening in our community.
If there's one word that sums up Bee Harris and Urban Spectrum, what would you think that would be?
I would say tenacity.
Tenacity is a perfect word. You have to be tenacious to endure 30 years of hard work and accomplishments that you have. And we just thank you for that. Here's to 30 more years of your fine work, and we want to be right there with you. God bless you. God keep you. And we'll see you again soon.
All right, congratulations.